So today truly marks a milestone in the future of the health of Cayuga Creek and for the quality of life of residents in the surrounding community. After nearly 10 years of collaboration and not giving up, we are thrilled to announce today the acquisition and protection of 30 acres of important habitat and open space along this critical waterway. So why is the future and the health of Cayuga Creek important? Well, for decades, like many of our waterways, Cayuga Creek has really suffered from water pollution, from surrounding land use, creek channel alterations over the years that really left the creek's water quality and habitat in an impaired state. The surrounding community here has also dealt with persistent flooding issues for many years. So our partnerships and our project have been intentionally planned and designed to provide benefits to both nature and to people. This site here is actually a relatively rare forested wetland habitat in Niagara County, and this provides exceptional ecological value for both the plants and animals that have been observed here. So in addition to the project design, we will actually restore a portion of the original creek channel. We are going to reconnect it to the floodplain, in which we expect it to provide flood relief for this surrounding community, for the residents of Roberts Drive and the Tuscarora Road area have been suffering for years. And since we know that the human animal is just as much a part of nature as everything else, we are thrilled and also excited to implement public access to this restored site. This will encourage outdoor activity and recreation. It will provide an opportunity for an outdoor classroom and also environmental education opportunities for the community. So what we like to call the emerald necklace of the Niagara River Greenway will grow once again and will have more interconnections to the Cayuga Creek corridor for both the benefit of the environment and the surrounding community. So projects like this don't happen on their own. They take years of efforts, they take strong partners and strong leadership. And a key leader who worked with us from day one and was instrumental in making this project a reality is the Town of Niagara Supervisor Lee Wallace. And I'd like to invite Lee up to the podium.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone. It's a beautiful day. I mean, I don't know if this could be any more perfect. There's no wind, no humidity. It's just a gorgeous day. It's been a great summer. And this is a wonderful day for the town of Niagara, a wonderful day for myself, and a wonderful day for the people in the communities that live in this surrounding area. You know, unfortunately, what happens many times is people make all kinds of promises that go unfulfilled and are hollow. And so folks who have been in this area for years, the Cayuga Village people, the people on Roberts Drive, and the people on Tuscarora have dealt with the flooding issues of their community for years and years and years, way before I became a supervisor. I decided when I became a supervisor that it would be a priority to try and do something. I was originally told, you'll get nothing done. It won't happen. You'll never be able to do it. That was the wrong thing to tell me, because that just made me more determined. And so then when I got the call from Joe Gould, I thought someone was actually putting me on. When he called me, it was like the same day when I had someone tell me this, and I thought he said, I'd like to talk to you about the Weber property and the Cayuga Creek restoration. Really? But in the last 3.5 years, the relationship between the Buffalo Waterkeepers, at the time when we first started, they were river keepers, and the town of Niagara has been seamless. It's been fantastic. Joe and I get along great. We have a dual purpose for this project. It's to alleviate the flooding issues and to create a natural habitat for the protection of the wildlife and some of the plant life that exists in, and to help restore the Cayuga Creek to where it needs to be and where it needs to be, and help those downstream and everyone around it. It is just a fantastic project. I'm not going to steal all the thunder. Just give you a little idea of what like I said, it's been 3.5 years to get to this point. We will now go into the design phase, which will probably take about 8 months, 8 to 10, 12 months. And then after the design phase will be the construction phase, which I believe will be about 2 more years, Joe. And so people will finally see that empty promises will be fulfilled. And we promised we would do this. We would try to do something to protect the people and to do the right things for this area, and that is our goal. And like I said, I couldn't be happier. Working with Joe Gould and the people of Buffalo River Waterkeepers has been a fantastic experience for me. It's been a new experience. The Greenway Commission has been fantastic to all of us, and I've been right behind this and supported this project from the beginning. Amy Fisk from the county and the county revitalization and redevelopment departments have been fantastic. Everybody has been so positive that there was no way this couldn't work. So I thank everyone, and today is the new beginning for all of us, and for those people who are skeptics, you'll see that this will actually take place, and I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Supervisor. And Lee is absolutely right. It all starts with the right attitude and the positive attitude to kind of make things happen. Also, in order to make things happen, it takes willing landowners for things like this. And again, I mentioned it briefly in the beginning of my comments about the Weber family and what an incredible family that they are. That it has been nearly 10 years of negotiations and discussions and collaboration and trying to find ways to make this happen. They want to honor the memory of Joseph C. Weber, and how does that family legacy carry forward, not only for his memory, but for the community and to benefit the community. And we can't thank you enough for your donation, your contribution, and your willingness along the way. This would not have happened without you. Thank you very much. So we also know that investments in environmental protection and restorations are investments in the local economy. Environmental projects afford the same, if not larger, economic returns from traditional development projects. So projects on brownfields actually provide a little bit more of a challenge, but also can provide an even greater positive impact on the surrounding community. So joining us today and representing the Niagara County Department of Economic Development, and who is the president of the Niagara County Brownfield Development Corporation, is Amy Fisk.
Thank you. It's a joy that I'm here today to be able to culminate a lot of years of work, working with the town of Niagara and with the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeepers to make this project a success. There was a perception that existed that the Weber property had suffered from environmental challenges resulting from past activities on a small portion of the property. So through some brownfield grant funding that the county had received from the United States Environmental Protection Agency, we were able to conduct environmental site assessments throughout the whole property, and we determined that the property can be safely reused for both public access, stream restoration, and some habitat restoration. So this represents a great opportunity of taking a former brownfield site and making it something that the community can be really proud of and can be actively involved in. So the Niagara County Department of Economic Development and the Commissioner, Mike Casale, is with us today. We're proud to partner with the town of Niagara and the Western New York Land Conservancy and the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper and, of course, the Weber family to help preserve this important natural area, which is both going to have public access benefits as well as alleviate some of the flooding issues that have plagued this beautiful area for decades. So I commend the town of Niagara and their leadership in making this possible and making this a site a priority in the town. And it is really important to note that, economic development isn't just jobs, but it's also quality of life. And this is going to improve the quality of life for the area and really provide the access issues that this area needs. So thank you, and I'm great to be part of this project. It's been very exciting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. So putting together a restoration project is often a complex puzzle that literally requires thousands of different actions and steps and matching and aligning of partners and aligning of ideas and legal mechanisms and bringing in experts. And long story short, it also takes a diverse source of funding and partners in order to make things become a reality. So not only did we have support from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and through the leadership and assistance with the town of Niagara and Niagara Economic Development, but also the New York Power Authority has played a significant role. So I do want to acknowledge, again, Carol and Steve, who are representing the Power Authority through some of the settlement funds through the host communities standing committee, which were directed to this project. Also working in partnership with the Niagara River Greenway Commission and the executive director, Greg Stevens, who will also share a few words about this project.
Thank you, Joe. This is a great day, and I just want to echo some of these comments. The Greenway Commission is very lucky to have the tremendous leadership of our Governor Cuomo, who continues to support this at the highest level, and the financial support of NYPO, without which we couldn't be doing this work. But what we quickly realize is that the actual work gets done by community organizations like the Waterkeeper and by municipalities along the Niagara River, and the town of Niagara is a great example. So the collaborative effort that goes into this project, the support of the family, the community, multiple agencies, is really what it takes to make things work. And the Greenway up until now has been primarily focused on completing the trail from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario. We are very close, and we'll be hearing some announcements hopefully this fall on the completion of that effort. With the arrival of the Empire State Trail in western New York, we have some additional resources from Governor Cuomo's project. That overlaying on the work we've been doing on the Shoreline Trail is going to finally give us a complete first-class trail from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario, connecting all of our towns and villages along the way. With that done, the next big effort is to improve the quality of the ecology along the river. And I'm very proud of the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper, and pleased to have been associated with them for a long time. They taught me a lot about riparian habitat. And the next chapter of the Greenway is going to be focused more on the quality of the green spaces along our waterways, having completed the trail system. And this is an outstanding example of the kind of projects that we hope to see coming forward in the future. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg. Okay, to wrap up, just to give some description of what we're going to be seeing here, basically what has been done so far and what is planned in the next coming months and years. So literally after spending nearly a decade and years doing a Cayuga Creek watershed assessment, all of the planning and work that was done along the way identified this site as one of the best bet opportunities for restoration in the Cayuga Creek watershed. Once that was identified, there was Phase 1 and Phase 2 site investigations that really looked at the site to determine the potential of the extent and nature of any contamination on the site. Also moving forward now, what's going to happen is natural resource assessments will be done to determine both the existing conditions and also the restoration potential. We've also done a lot of grant writing and partnership development over the years to secure the funds to make it happen. So now that we've been able to secure the site and acquire it, we now enter the fun phase, which we like to call it. We will be engaging with the community more through community input and meetings, because through all the work that we do at Waterkeeper and with many of our partners, it's not just about us coming in and telling the community what we think should be done in your neighborhood. It's engaging with folks who live and work and play in this area to get feedback from them for what they would like to see the future use of this site, which is part of their community. So we will be having those community input sessions this summer and fall of 2018. Once we get through that process, we are going to take all the input that we get from the community, and then we will go back and we will start to put down conceptual ideas for our site design and for the restoration this fall into next spring of 2019. And it's our goal to actually implement and start implementing construction and stream restoration and the flood mitigation component of it by mid of 2019 next year. Once all that is complete, then we will also want to target the enhancement of the trails and formal public access that will also be looked to be implemented in late 2019 into 2020, and also in need of long-term stewardship and maintenance, because it's not just about putting a project in the ground. How are you going to care for it? How are you going to maintain it? How are you going to ensure that it's going to be in place for generations to come? And that is the last puzzle piece that we're working very hard on putting together. We'll still be looking for funding and support and engagement to make that happen and that become a reality. So we want to thank everybody again for coming together to make this happen. We look forward to a really exciting summer and fall about the next steps with this project, and even more so when we start to see it go in the ground next year. We have an opportunity now, if you have any specific questions about the project, the partners, any one of us can take some questions now. Also, Joe Gould, who is our project manager, is available to take some questions as well, and we can, if you're so inclined, we can take a little hike, because nobody wants to go back to the office, right? But thank you very much, everybody. Again, we're very excited about this project.
So this is behind you, the area
Yes.
you're talking about. What's the perimeter on
Yes.
the other side? What are we looking at?
Well, you've got Tuscarora Road. It's kind of an oddly shaped triangular parcel that has Tuscarora Road on one side and this community on another. It's about 30 acres in total, and you've got Cayuga Creek that flows through the site, and a portion of Cayuga Creek is actually channelized, so if you look at a map, it looks actually a straight line. And that's the stream segment that we need to restore to connect it back to its floodplain.
We're kind of restoring it to what it used to be, maybe?
Right. It's tough to restore everything the way it used to be completely, but we are going to try and improve its what we call ecological services. So we're going to try to improve it to perform as naturally as possible within the constraints that we have on the property.
And this will address the flood issue.
Yes, it will be designed to mitigate as much of the flooding issue as possible, knowing that oftentimes Mother Nature cannot be contained in its entirety, and with extreme storm events that we deal with more and more, we can't say for certain that there won't be flooding again in the future, but we are going to mitigate it as much as possible.
For the community meetings more for like the public access part, or is that for what's in the construction for those two?
It'll be community input on everything.
What kind of materials will you use for the construction?
That's a good question, and I'm going to look to Joe. Come on, no, come on up. You're not hiding back there anymore.
Materials?
Material. Right here.
Well, that'll really come out in the design phase of the project, but, that'll really come out in the design phase of the project. If you're talking about, like, we will be using a lot of rock or plants, we'll be trying to do as much soft materials as possible, meaning using natural vegetation and stuff like that to really, stabilize the stream corridor and allow it to now flood out this center part of the property.
You see a lot of invasive species got to come out of here, stuff that doesn't belong here? Or?
Yeah, so we've actually done some assessment work, and there is a fair amount of invasive species that we'll have to address, especially as we open up that center portion to some flooding. It'll change some of the canopy types. So as you open it up to sun and stuff like that, you don't want those things to flourish. So we'll definitely be trying to address the invasive species as we design this project. It is. It's a state-listed species, yes. It's on the back portion of the property. We won't tell you exactly where it is because we try and keep those things quiet, but there is some really nice, forest area that has some nice species. Mm-hmm.
What's your name again?
My name is Joseph Gould. So I work for Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper. Yep.
You've been working hard on this project for a long time now. How does it feel for you personally to see all this come to fruition?
It's a great day. It's probably one of my greatest accomplishments so far in office, and it's just the beginning of it. We have been working on a number of things since I took office, and they take a while. The wheels sometimes, you hear the term, the wheels of government turn very slowly, and they do. And there are a lot of steps that we had to go through. The assessment, phase 1 and phase 2 environmental study, that took almost a year, and these things don't happen overnight, and people get frustrated. But I just kept saying, I had somebody tell somebody early this spring, they'll never do anything, because we had a bad flood again this spring. They'll never do anything. And I just bit my tongue and said, we'll wait and see. So it's a great feeling to know that it's come together. A lot of people involved in this. Everybody was so positive in nature, and it was seamless. It really was there. I don't really think there were any like setbacks. That it was a slow process moving forward to get to this point.